That's exactly the game that they're playing here.
It's a stupid fucking, I know you are, but what am I?
Exactly.
It's
yeah.
like we
it is kindergarten in adult life. That's what it is. We are talking in the meme destroying segment of today's episode. We're talking about a tweet from one Tom Morello. David, tell the people who is Tom Morello.
Wow, 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 wow. Go with it now. Wow, wow. Okay, sorry. He's a very, very accomplished guitarist in two very successful bands, being Rage Against the Machine and it's not Sound. Was it Soundgarden? Or was it the next one? It was Audioslave. Audioslave. Sorry.
Anyway, so Tom Morello sends out this tweet, and it's just a picture that says, quote, German saying, if 9 people sit down at a table with one Nazi without protest, there are 10 Nazis at the table. Right? Now, again, Office Space, don't jump to conclusions, Matt. None of that follows. I understand that, and again, I don't know if this is a truly quote-unquote German saying, as the meme suggests that Tom Morello shared. I don't know if this is a concept within German culture that I'm not aware of. Maybe it is. I don't really care. The point is, sharing it, being of a leftist perspective, in Tom Morello, in Rage Against the Machine more generally, but we're going to keep it just to Tom himself because the rest of the band did not also share this. This is the classic leftist tactic,
right,
that we all point out of everybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi. That's what this is. When we strip it all down to its bare essentials and bare bones, what we see is everybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi. So,
and by the way, how advanced of them? How advanced of the left to say anybody that disagrees with me is automatically wrong? That makes it sound like you're not an intellectual. That makes it sound like you can't stand critique. That makes it sound like you don't actually believe in what you're saying, so you have to cut off any debate or any contrast to what your perspective is, which is not very smart at all.
Yeah, well, actually, this is a hallmark of lazy thinking. There's actually a technical term for this within general logic and rhetoric. It's called the no true Scotsman fallacy. And what the no true Scotsman fallacy stands for is this proposition, is that you put forward a statement, a truth as you claim it, and you say that anybody who disagrees with what I just said is not X. And the reason why it's no true Scotsman is it came from this idea that no true Scotsman would disagree with X, right? So if you say, I'm a Scotsman and I disagree with rule of Scotland by the king or queen in England, therefore anybody who disagrees with my statement is no true Scotsman. That's why it's called the no true Scotsman fallacy. So this idea that somebody can put forward a proposition and just say, this is truth, as much as truth as 2 + 2 = 4, and that if anybody disagrees with me, there is no room for nuance or gray area or anything. Anybody who disagrees with me in the slightest is no true Scotsman, or is the corollary to that, is a Nazi, right? And so because of the, again, the leftist hegemony within not only politics, but culture, society, everything else like that, basically whatever they say goes, is when they say everybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi, that and this example is a clear and obvious example of gaslighting. We hear that phrase all the time. This is gaslighting. This is what it is. And here's why. Because when Tom Morello tweeted this, being a famous person as he is, his many followers, many people, both on the left and right, retweeted what he had to say, and they had commentary on it. So people who would be, I guess, generally defined as maybe on the right, or at least not on the left, even if they define themselves in the center, they're not leftists. They would retweet this and say, this is ridiculous. Or, for example, Tim Pool, who I guess started out more on the left, but I guess now is more on the right, but not any sort of like alt-right, hardcore, fascist, anything else like that, retweeted it, not in support of the general proposition that's being set forward. And then leftists on Twitter came out of the left work, resharing what Tim Pool had to say about it and saying things generally to the effect of, people on the right getting upset about this statement is really telling on themselves, or, basically signaling that if you disagreed with what Tom Morello tweeted in any way, for any reason, you were outing yourself as a fascist, probably a Nazi, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the thing is, that's called compliance. The problem is when you don't have the other side, or when you don't let the other side have their say, when people don't have a voice, what is that called? It's called tyranny. Tyranny equals compliance, and truth equals
Forced
conflict.
compliance.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And truth equals conflict. Like, if they truly believed in what they were saying in their heart of hearts, they would allow people to stand up and question what the fuck they were saying.
Dissident voices, and then defend their proposition on its merits.
Exactly. But tyranny says, I'm saying the truth right now. This is the truth. And if you have a slightest modicum of difference with that, then the problem is with you. So we need to get you out of here, which is society. So what are you left with? If that's how you want to run it, you're left with a dictatorship. That's what this is. But they're putting it in, they're very clever because they're putting it in moralistic standards. Because they're standing up for the people that can't stand up for themselves, but the people that have a problem with what they're saying will be shunned and thrown out of society.
Right. And this is why it is classic gaslighting, right? Because the left pretends that they can just run around calling everybody who disagrees with them as a Nazi, an alt-right fascist, insert other buzzword here. They can run around with impunity saying that about any of their detractors, anybody who disagrees with what they have to say. And that if those people that they're labeling as the worst thing they can think of, right? Racists, fascists, Nazis, bigots, insert buzzword here. And that if that person objects to that label, that is therefore proof that they are worthy of that label. That is gaslighting. That is gaslighting, textbook, cover to cover, close it, definition. That's what it is. That is gaslighting.
Seinfeld.
If I tell you that if you disagree, and I'm just going to make up a brand new buzzword, right? I'm going to say you're a gobbledygook. And gobbledygook is defined as anybody who disagrees within is a morally objectionable individual. You should be run out of society. You're probably tantamount to all of the other famous buzzwords, racist, bigot, blah, blah, blah. You're a gobbledygook. If you disagree with anything Dane has to say, you're a gobbledygook. So I could make the most outlandish claims in the world. And somebody would object to whatever my outlandish claim is. And I would say, well, you're a gobbledygook. I now claim the moral high ground unjustifiably to anybody that is, remotely paying attention. And I say, you're a gobbledygook. Therefore, I don't have
to. And we condemn you to gush gobbledygook.
I don't have to respond to your objection to my outlandish claim. I just get to say you are this thing, and therefore you're morally reprehensible, and therefore you're not entitled to a response. That's exactly the game that they're playing here.
It's a stupid fucking, I know you are, but what am I?
Exactly.
It's
yeah.
like we
it is kindergarten in adult life. That's what it is.
And it's right there in front of you, and they do it every day.
Keep an eye out for this bullshit. It doesn't always have to come from famous people in rock bands and all that kind of stuff. It's going to come from everywhere, from politicians to Hollywood to university professors and everything else like that. And again, as we've discussed many, many times in many different contexts on the show, what is the objective? What is the end goal? The end goal is control. In order to end up controlling the human,
Now you do what they told you. Now you under control. Now you do what they told you. Now you under control. Now you do what they told you. Yep.
In order to control the human, which is the end goal, you first have to control the language. And that's what this is. It's controlling the language. It's saying, as this tweet says, if 9 people sit down at a table with one Nazi without protest, there are 10 Nazis at the table. It is saying anybody who disagrees with me or any of the other myriad of crazy propositions that flow from my head, that you are ex ante, a terrible person not worthy of a legitimate debate, you're morally reprehensible on my mere say-so, right? That is first controlling language, and the ultimate goal is to control you. Push back against this. That meme is now destroyed in your brain forever. And every time you see it, whether it be in the context of Nazis or otherwise, every time you see this from now on to the rest of your waking days, you're now going to spot this and you're going to be like, no, I'm being gaslighted. This is bullshit. I have every right to disagree with this individual for X, Y, or Z reasons. And their attempts to claim the moral high ground, and that's all it is, it's a claim. They haven't earned it. Their attempts to claim the moral high ground is pure and utter bullshit. It is built on a house of cards, and that my argument, my objection to whatever it is they're saying is equally as valid as anything they're saying. And let the truth prevail in the marketplace of ideas.
And when you
reject these people in this line of argument, because it's utter bullshit.